Cast. I am not James. I am Dara Cunningham, and I'm joined today by Rocco Dean.
Hello.
And in James's place, at weighing in at a whopping 12 stone of pure muscle and aggression, the captain of the Yorkshire Roses football team. It's Joe Wainmann.
Mate, that's got to be the best intro I've ever had on any show I've ever been on. So you can be my hype man in future, Dara. I'll take that.
I just took that one on the fly. Actually, I wasn't
Yeah.
planning on doing that. I just got excited. Joe, look, we're really happy to have you here. We don't do a lot of guests, and we said this year we would look to bring in a few people, particularly after the football match and getting to know people. And of course, Mr. Leeds United himself, Joe Wainmann. We couldn't have thought of a better guest to get on the first show. So really appreciate having you here. Looking forward to you letting loose on the show.
Good stuff. Thank you so much
So
for having me.
before we get too much into that, I'd like to say a special thank you to Bassambloy, bassambloy.com for all your camera needs for the likes of your binoculars, monoculars. Of course, they stock all the best brands: Canon, Nikon, Canon, Nike, Focon.
Zeiss.
I'm losing the run of myself. What's the main one, Rocco?
Pentax. Don't forget
Pentax,
Pentax.
indeed. Number one. And if you're anywhere in Harrogate, what's the address?
6 Beulah Street
In
in Harrogate.
Yeah, super stuff. Thanks, Rocco. And for everyone out there, please do like and subscribe. Get your comments in. We will try and get through as many as we can. Although with these two football aficionados here in front of us, I am dead keen to hear what they take as on what happened yesterday. Because obviously, a bad day at the office for Leeds United. But is it worse than just a bad day at the office, or is it just a bad day at the office? So before we get into that, we have a Leeds Stat community, and they've sent in a load of comments. I won't go through any of the comments, but what I do is I might bring up their points as we go by, because obviously some of them just have phone numbers, and very few of them have names and full names anyway as well. So we'll get straight into the match. With so much talking points, I think today's going to be a ripper of a show. Let's start off with the team selection. So obviously we had a very interesting and probably a spot-on lineup against Everton. As I called it, a Daniel Farke masterclass. Rocco, what did you make to the lineup against Arsenal?
Um, I didn't have a problem with it. It was what I expected. I was hoping that Longstaff would come in and that we would have Stack as the holding midfielder. So I was a bit disappointed because I don't know whether it shines badly on, well, which one of them, but clearly Farke didn't particularly trust Stack to do the holding role, or Longstaff isn't knocking on the door hard enough. But Gruev got the nod. Maybe he just did it out of loyalty to Gruev. It's hard to say. Farke's the one that sees them all the time, and I trust him to make the decision. And up front, Pirou, obviously, we saw what we got from him, and yeah, probably the wrong decision, but I mean, you can't. I wasn't surprised in the slightest.
Yeah, we'll come on to Pirou a bit later. Joe, what did you make when you first saw that starting 11?
I mean, I really like Farke, right? So sometimes I struggle to pick holes in it. I'll be honest, right? Initially, because I'm like, okay, let's see what he's got to do, see what he's got for us, and then as the game develops, it was. I mean, it's clear. I'd said all week though, like in the lead up to the game, like if Calvin Lewin's fit, you start him. If not, Mecha. And it was evident because Pirou drops deep, he comes into midfield. We didn't need that. We needed someone to be challenging them two centre backs that they've got. For me, it's arguably the best centre back partnership in Europe, and they had the easiest day they will probably have all season because our striker just stood in front of them, and. Yeah, they had nothing to do. Like when Mecha came on, he fouled them. They fouled him. He was putting himself about. Pirou did nothing, and I really don't want to blame Pirou for that. Like it's the manager that's at fault for playing him. Like a lot of people are saying he's not good enough, etc. There are certain games where he is effective. I thought he was effective against Everton, but it's the manager's fault for playing him. I even felt like he might have started Harrison because I was like, you know what, defensive winger going up against someone like Saka, him and Goodmanson doubling up. Nonto had an okay game by, standards of the rest of the squad. But yeah, and then like Rocco said, it like quickly realised actually no, Parker doesn't do that. Like some managers would have done that because they'd have looked at it and gone, yeah, this is probably going to get me the best result if I switch this up. But I felt it was a little bit naive, Dara, and that needs to change. Otherwise, there'll be many more hidings like that, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you, Joe. I think there was a few in there I was a little bit surprised of. I mean, I made a point of saying it on X that I wasn't totally surprised about, or no, I was a little surprised about Gruev, but not disappointed. I liked the fact that he played well in pre-season and somehow had forced his way back into the team and into contention. And along with that, then it was a case of being picked on merit. He'd done well in pre-season, and a message to the players goes out: if you play well, you can get a place in this team, regardless of who comes in. I think it may have proven to be the wrong decision a little bit, but that's for we'll have a conversation about that. The other one I was surprised about was Jack Harrison, and I was listening to you earlier, Joe, and you made a good point. Nanto played well, like Nanto did a good job defensively, but if you're picking between a defensive winger, you pick Jack Harrison every day of the week. You know, him and Dan James are two of the best defensive wingers in the game. I think it was Solskjaer when he had Dan James said he was the best defensive winger in the world. So that one did surprise me. I wasn't surprised on Peru, but in hindsight and having seen it, I think it was the wrong call. Let's get straight into that. So, with regards to the selection of Peru up front, and then seeing what he offered compared to what Mecha offered, Rocco, what did you come away from that thinking? And I know it's easy to say in hindsight. Hindsight's 2020. I know you were pretty pissed off at the end of that match. And I think a lot of that was down to the striker. The ball just wasn't sticking up front. We had no outlet.
Nah, but to be honest, I honestly feel like whatever team he'd have picked, we'd have got hammered. I just think the players were that shite on Saturday night. I don't think it had mattered. And, yeah, fair enough. It would have helped. Like, Mecha is, like, to me, looks a really good striker, a lot more physical, everything that you've already said. He couldn't have been worse than Peru, who was anonymous, as we saw in the Championship in a lot of away games. So, yeah, maybe he probably should have foreseen it. But honestly, so many players had off days. Like, they were all, rabbits in headlights. I feel like not embarrass themselves because of the level of the opponent. It's not even that they're playing at Premier League level on Saturday. They were playing Champions League level. You're playing at the absolute top of football. So you can't judge them and say they're not Premier League players based on that match. But I just thought they let themselves down so badly, like not being able to put two passes together. And yeah, you changed two or three players. I can't believe it would have made any difference at all. I just think everyone was far too off it, to be honest. So that's why I don't really like blaming Farke for it. I was pissed off and I'm upset because we were so bad. But I blame the players. The players that played, were garbage, and I can't believe that the other players would have made such a difference. Might have made some, but it was just so bad.
How about yourself, Joe? What do you make that striker situation?
Yeah, I think the first 20-25 minutes, although we were under the cosh, I thought we managed to get James in. And I think that I'd said that during the game. The key here is getting James in behind Calafiori. He's not the quickest. James is quick as, and that's our outlet in this game. Like, I'd said all week and got mocked by Arsenal fans saying, Dan James. But really, that's his skill set, right? We're under the cosh, kick the ball, right, get after it, roadrunner vibes. We saw it twice. One time he cut in, he had a strike. The other time he tries to beat his man, we win a corner. We almost score, right? And that was the one time we'd managed to get into their half. It went into midfield and we sprayed a ball out. I think it might have been Tanaka. And I thought, do you know what? We can get to half time and you just never know. But then we just stopped that. And I think, personally, I think a lot of that was we couldn't get up the pitch. And why couldn't we get up the pitch? Because we had no, you can go long, but if you're going to go long to a striker that can't win the ball, it's futile. The ball's just going to come straight back at you. I do agree with Rocco. There was a lot of poor performers out there. Stack looked nothing like the player we saw the week before. Gruev for their second goal, for example, I mean, they need to realise, Lockie's just mentioned on my show, they've got 1 or 2 touches, no more. 1 or 2 in the Premier League, like you said, and then Rice, Subamendi, they were all over them, and these are elite level players. But that speed of thought's needed because you haven't got the time that you were given in the Championship. Even thought like the passing out from the keeper, thought Strout was woeful, Roden didn't look great. I just think, I agree, rabbit in the headlights. It's funny, before the game, right, when Eze came out, I thought, last time this happened was at Old Trafford, and Rafa Varane got welcomed, and we got walloped that day as well. And I was thinking, oh, it's not looking good, the atmosphere and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, we just hope we don't see that kind of performance again. Yeah, I think manager and players, yeah, weren't great.
Couple of people in the chat saying your mic's a bit low, Joe. You might just have a look at that while I prattle on here.
Yep.
So yeah, look, in hindsight, I suppose I thought it was. I do think it was the wrong decision. Like, you could see it the minute Mecha came on. I think he won a header. He flicked it out to the right. At that stage, Dan James was off. It went out for a throw in, but he won the header. And Brendan Aronson had tucked in. Brendan Aronson, I thought, had a decent game actually. Probably looked our best player when he came on. Even that cross he put in for Mecha was a bit of quality that I haven't seen from him in a long time. I will disagree on one point, Rocco. I don't agree with you that I think we may have lost the game. I do think there's one player who could have made a big difference, and that's Ethan Ampadu. And it's not so much for his incredible footballing ability as much as his leadership and his nastiness to scrap and to fight and to raise those around him. And I think if he's on that pitch, Arsenal don't get such an easy ride once they get into their rhythm. Because let's face it, we played pretty well for the first 35 minutes. We frustrated them. We had that outlet, as Joe said. Dan James took him around the outside, got a corner in, could have scored from that corner. A lesser keeper would have let that in. So I think we showed that we had about us. But I think Ethan Ampadu does not allow that team to capitulate in the way it did. So that to me, I think, would have been a different maker. Although I have to laugh, Joe, you say about players signing on the pitch. We had no chance of signing Varane, but we very well could have signed Eze a long time ago, and we very well could have signed Gyökeres. And then if we took Elise when Reading offered him to us for £8 million, that wouldn't have been a bad front three, would it? So yeah, well done, Victor. Great move from you there, mate. Look, we seem to be straight into the tactical side of things there, and I think the word naive has been used. I'll give my two pence worth first. I do think it was a bit naive of Farke to attack them in the way he did. I think it's fine to play like that against Everton. I made the point on both of our shows, Joe's show last week and Leeds, that I thought you're going to see a completely different style of play against Arsenal. I didn't know what that was going to be. In the back of my mind, I kind of thought West Brom last season, second game of the season, where we clearly just played for a draw. Farke went on record saying after Luton, a good point on the road, any point on the road is a good point. Didn't seem like he was playing for a point at the Emirates. He did go toe-to-toe with them and got absolutely spanked. And I'm kind of going, that to me is naive. As much as I thought last week was a masterclass, I think this week was a bit of a disaster class. Because we can't go toe-to-toe with Arsenal. They're one of the top teams in the world. They've been building for 6 years to be a top team in world football. So, yeah, I do think his tactics were naive. Rocco, what you reckon?
I don't know. Did we go toe-to-toe? And, I mean, the other thing is that, like, they only had 5 shots on target and scored 5 goals. Like, they weren't cutting through us. The goals were all just garbage mistakes. We're the architects of our own downfall. I don't know. I mean, the Saka goal, obviously, they cut through us. But I don't know. I feel like the setup wasn't actually that bad, to be honest. But I don't know. What do you think, Joe?
Is my sound better?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I've turned up the gain. Sorry. This is new, this technical side of things to me.
Yeah, you're talking to Rocco. He doesn't have a clue.
Yeah. All right. I don't even know how to work a mouse.
James will be watching on holiday going, I get you, Joe. I think we tried to play out from the back, which I felt was naive. And then when we tried to go long, we didn't have the right player to go long to. I think what was really naive was the failure to change it at half time. Why did you not change it at half time? This is where I want to give shout out again to Lockie and Andrea. Popped in our group chat at half time. Andrea literally said, if he does not change this and give us an outlet, we will concede within the first 5 minutes. It took 3 minutes. And so, but we could all see it wasn't working, right? Should you have had the experience of Longstaff in there potentially? Yeah. And the striker, man. I know I wasn't expecting us to win. I predicted 2-0 Arsenal before we went. But yeah, like, I do think it was naive, and the what sort of pissed me off this morning when I seen it, sorry, language-wise, Farke said at 4-0 I was really proud of, how we performed, and we did really well. And I looked at that, though, and I went, yeah, but at 4-0 you made the changes with the striker. So is that why we look better? I don't know. Or at Arsenal, I mean, at that point, they're bringing on 15-year-olds who were still at school, so... I mean, what a player he was, by the way, and is. But this is the thing as well. We do need a bit of perspective, because when you lose Saka and Odegaard, two of your best players, and you bring on players that still walk into our side, then you're always going to struggle. That 15-year-old would start for us. Do you know what I mean? He would. He would, man. So, yeah, mad.
We should have smashed him. I was getting so pissed off. Like, he should have had the McGinn treatment on Gray. Like, and we were just stood off him, giving him 5 yards.
David Batty on Ronaldo, where he just kicked him in the air.
Yeah.
Agreed,
yeah. Honestly, get stuck into him. Like, that's just taking the piss.
It was scary good, though, wasn't he? I was dreading him taking that penalty. I was like, if he takes this penalty and scores it, we will never hear the end of it. We'll have to watch it on replay for 40 years.
Yeah,
and
then
he's
we
English
had to see
fans
that
as well. Unlucky for you too. He's English.
I think I'd have rather seen him take the penalty than have to see that stupid celebration again there, and the Arsenal fans doing it. My God, I was getting so wound up.
Ellen Road, though, the season we went down, could have kept us up.
Yeah, thanks, Victor.
One of the things I have to say that really annoyed me about it as well in the style of play was, it's not what we expected. It's complete opposite to what we were promised. When we brought in a load of 6-foot-tall giants, we were supposed to be tough to beat. The whole point was we will compete and we will be difficult to beat. And what we saw was back to rolling over and having our bellies tickled and being nice little Leeds for having a go. And I just think we just need to be a little bit more dirty Leeds. I don't mind if we start wasting time. In the first 2 minutes away to Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool. We would like to see it away to Brentford or Sunderland. But I don't mind it at the Emirates. Let's roll around, grab your knee, slow the game down, break up play, foul them every few seconds so that they can't get into a rhythm. So, yeah, I just thought it was everything we were promised we wouldn't be. And to me, that was the ultimate disappointment.
They didn't even get out of second gear, Arsenal. Like, I can't believe they've ever had an easier 5-0. Like, they didn't do anything, and they just walked to a 5-0 victory, and it's just so hard to take. Like, yeah, anyone with any football knowledge knows that these results are going to happen against these sorts of teams. It's expected. Like, Bayern won 6-0 against Leipzig. It's just that's football. But it's just like, still hate it, still complain about it. You can't just accept it.
And these, just to pick up on the big giants we've bought as well, one of them's teching corners, which is madness. So get Okafor or whoever you're going to bring in to take some set pieces. And I thought defensively, I know they're the best at set pieces, right? But we were so poor from them, poor. I think the fourth goal where it's like, everyone's like trickling around. Someone put your foot through it, man. Get rid. I know. I just thought, to concede from set piece when we've got all these giants, I was very annoyed. Even though they are great at them, I was pissed.
Again, it goes back to that same point, though, doesn't it? Like, what you thought Leeds was going to be like this season, big, aggressive, competitive, good at set pieces. And then it turns out maybe not the case. Now, look, it's the second game of the season. We've seen this before. Yeah. There's a long road to go. Maybe we become brilliant at set pieces. Maybe this is the chance now for Farke to pick his absolute best team you might see BL come back in or come in. You might see Mecha get a start. Actually, one thing on the striker, I got to go back to it because I meant to say it. And sorry to circle back around. I'm going to throw a grenade in here. Are we shooting ourselves in the foot? Is our best hold-up man?
No, don't say it.
I knew it was coming.
He's at the club and he's getting paid 80 quid a week, 80 grand a week to not play for us. When we need.
Let's at least hope that Calvert-Lewin's better than him, surely.
But when Calvert-Lewin can't even make the squad.
Yeah, true.
It's like that office meme, innit? Go get Pat.
I just think maybe there was a different way of handling that. Like, you could have told him, you're not in my plans. Stay with the first team. We'll keep you ticking over, but look for a move. And then maybe you use him if you need to, rather than just completely stick him to the side. Anyway, sorry for that, lads. I was sure the chat's gonna explode now. So big players come in for a lot of stick is Ilya Gruev. Rocco, what's your take?
I was most annoyed about the defending for the first goal. His coverage of the back post was laughable. Like, he was basically like behind Perry. Yeah, and obviously the second goal's just diabolical. But yeah, people were doing that all day, misplacing passes. Just not good enough. I've heard rumours about Kalvin coming back, which now sounds a bit more appealing. Joe, any breaking news on that?
No, but do you know what though? It wouldn't have been bad yesterday, was it? I think for me, we do need a back. If you can get him on a loan. I know the chat again. We've gone from Bamford to Phillips. They'll be they'll be punching the laptops and stuff, and the phones. But I do think he sees Gruev as his backup six. I don't think he is that over the course of the season. So I wouldn't mind Kalvin as the backup to Ampadu. I mean, the concern is how long's Ampadu out for? And then we heard that Tanaka did his MCL in the game and managed to play through it. So what if he's out? Then that's really bad. Midfield was our strongest part of the pitch and our best part of the pitch. And in one game, we're all going, oh no. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. It's unforgiving, this league. It's so physically demanding. But I would take him. I would. As a backup six, why not? He's a Leeds lad. He played his best football here.
Yeah, he's never played that position again, has he? He's always, I believe. I mean, a City play with a holding midfield a bit. I mean, he never played, and then at Ipswich, he's just been part of a two. Maybe he'd be better, but yeah, this is definitely knee-jerk stuff now, isn't it?
Yeah. For me, no, I have to say that the header from the first goal, him at the back post, really annoyed me, because when the ball bobbles around like the fourth goal, yeah, then as the guy in the post, you can come away a little bit. You can anticipate the ball's moving in a certain direction. But it was first contact. And at the first contact, you've got to be on the post. Otherwise, what's the point? So I was annoyed at that. But I'm not ready to throw Gruev out with the bathwater just yet. Like, I mean, for £5 million, I think he's been sensational for us, to be quite honest. I know sensational is probably a bit of overkill. But he's done a great job for us. And especially that season, in the first season, I know we didn't get over the line. But, like, we were in a really bad ebb when Ampadu got injured long term, and Gruev came in and solved that issue in midfield for us, and kind of was a big part of getting us to the playoff final. So I don't think he's ever really let us down. I think yesterday was probably a bad day at the office for him, but he'll learn from it. However, when I heard Joe break the news last week, or the rumor last week about Kalvin Phillips, my initial thought was, no, I don't know, I don't think so. We're okay. And now I am going, actually, yeah, if Kalvin Phillips is available, I think we've got to be a bit ruthless. And that's why I suppose one thing is on the panic situation. You never want fans or the club to panic. But we maybe could use a bit of panic on occasion. Like, we didn't panic under Jesse Marsh because we beat Liverpool. And it was the worst thing we ever did was not panic. So sometimes a little bit of panic can spur on a situation whereby you go, I thought it was okay with Gruev. Now seeing him against the absolute best of the best, maybe he's not going to cut it. Do we bring in someone with more experience in the likes of Kalvin Phillips or another, and similar for the striker?
it's pretty good as well to say that like this result happening now with the transfer window still open. I mean, we said similar when Meslier did his thing at Hull. You know, it was the perfect time for him to, you know, do that mistake and get replaced. But yeah, like if we'd have somehow, even if we'd have lost 2-0, like everyone might have been a bit too
100%.
relaxed and complacent, and like it might end up being the best thing that could have happened.
Yeah, I think as well. Even for me, I was saying it when I was told, and the reason I spoke about it is because it was the same person who told me about Calvert-Lewin. But I mean, they might not have been offering it, but it would just make sense. He hasn't got a club. He's in Yorkshire. You know, I don't know. It just makes sense to me. But anyway, you have Tanaka, Longstaff. You have Gruev, Stack. You have Ampadu. Just add that one in there. Kalvin will probably be willing to lower wages. Like Kalvin would walk over broken glass to play for this football club. Is my thought process. He would give everything for the shirt. Some players just do better at home. He's been in Manchester, he's been in London, and he's been in Suffolk. And let's be honest, it's not home. I really dislike the way Leeds fans speak so disparaging about him. He's one of our own. He turned down Aston Villa when he could have gone to the Premier League, and he stayed in the Championship to get us back up. For me, I get I'm emotional. I get I'm sentimental. That's how I am as a fan. Not everyone is the same. But I've loved nothing more this season to see Kalvin back somewhere close to his best in a Leeds United shirt. I would, honestly, I would. But, yeah, apparently he's washed now. He's League One. You know, like they always say, it's League One. Same they said for Ayling, and then he went and got the most open play assists at Middlesbrough in the Championship. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. Hey, what do we know?
And same with Liam Cooper, who led us to 9th place finish in the Premier League, and as far as I'm concerned, was a wonderful captain for Leeds in his time at Leeds. Got the best out of himself. Yeah, I think you're right, Joe. I think Kalvin Phillips does whatever he can to play for Leeds. I mean, he was at the game at Everton. Like he came just to watch. I think he would walk over broken glass to get to us, and I think Leeds gets that little bit more out of him than any other club. Of course, look, he's a friend of the pod. We've had him on. He gave an interview here, the famous interview where he said that he reckons Leif Davis was a player who could be an absolute gem if he got his head down. And I remember listening to it. I wasn't involved with the pod at the time, and I held that. And then that's why I've been going absolutely ballistic about the fact that we sold Leif Davis for £1 million. And we'll get to Largy later, folks. Don't worry about that. I know you're all looking forward to that one. But yeah, for me, I would 100% bring back Kalvin Phillips now, based on everything and the leadership as well. Like, he's played for England, he's played in the final of the Euros. We could do with a little bit of that experience and some of that passion that Ampadu brings to the team when Ampadu's not out. The only thing is, I do think he needs a change in his approach. We had myself and Rocco interviewed Andreas Clavijo, who was an analyst at the time with Bielsa, and an interesting point he said, it didn't really get picked up on, was he said that Kalvin, it wasn't a massive surprise to him that Kalvin's levels dropped off a little bit, just purely because he wasn't pushed as much at any other club, and he wasn't pushed as much as he needed to be pushed. So that was a very interesting line, I think, from Andres. Now, it wasn't casting any shade on Kalvin. Just some players need to be pushed to their absolute limit. Maybe Farke's the man for that, because I think he's got quite good man management in terms of what he's brought out of the players that he's enjoyed. I know some people will point at Largy and say no, we'll come around to that in a minute. But you're a player that's supposed to stuck out, and I defended his distribution last week because it was only one game. But what are our thoughts on Lucas Perry, Rocco?
Well, I mean, it wasn't impressive, was it? Didn't fill me with any sort of confidence. I mean, it was the third goal that was pathetic, really. I mean, I don't know. It was in the middle of the goal, trickled in, and he never got near it. The Saka one as well, just don't know, this like modern way of, it's almost like defeatist keepers, like, I'll stand like this, and if the striker beats me, he beats me. And yeah, he reacted, but he reacted late. I don't know, it was an awkward height, but you don't see like top class keepers doing that, beating in that manner. Something was wrong. I think his arms were too low or what, I don't know. But yeah, bad start really, to concede 5 out of 5 like that. What about you, Joe? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I actually think the Saka one. I think he thinks it's going across to Gyökeres, and before he's even had a chance to think, it's in back at net. It's a good strike, but yeah, the rest don't cover himself in glory. I got absolutely blasted before for saying that Mellier's short passing game's decent, and everyone would go, well, anywhere he can pass the ball 5 yards. Well, I don't think they can they, on that
Trafford can't.
Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, time will tell. We've only seen him in a couple of games. Time will tell, but he's going to be tested. I'd like him to come for some of them crosses. They were so close to him. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He could have come. He could have. Yeah, I don't know if it's an instruction from the coaching team or whatever, but yeah, the jury's out on that one for sure.
They are great deliveries. Like, you do have to say, like,
definitely,
Rice's
yeah.
delivers are so good. So yeah, I think we just all have to sort of just just keep behind him.
Yeah,
Hope he's
benefit of the
better.
doubt for now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, funny thing is, I actually agree with both of you. So yeah, I think you're right, Rocco. I think on that third goal, ball's bobbling around. He's 6'6". Come out and be big. Like you said it last week, you don't think you've ever seen a bigger keeper in the goal. Come out and just clean everybody out. Keepers are so well protected. If he comes out and just cleans everyone out and gets anything on the ball, he'll get away with it. And on the Saka one, yeah, maybe if he's standing like this, he might get a reaction on it. But there's a reason why Saka's one of the best players on the planet. And I think he gave him the eyes. I think he disguised the shot and then had zero backlift and bang, it's gone past him before he even reacts to it. So I don't blame him too much on that, but the distribution started to worry me. Not so much. And I will say one thing about it: level heads, because Jaden Bogle was worrying everybody at this stage last season, and that went on for a good month. And he turned out to probably be one of our top 3 players at the club, and is now trusted to within an inch of his life. So let's not be too quick to jump on players with regards to that. Interesting piece of news here, and Joe, actually you told us this before we started, but it appears that we've agreed a deal for James Justin and Leicester. Any info on that, Joe?
Yeah, so I think it was originally mentioned by Mike McGrath, and now Ben Jacobs is saying that it is 8 + 2 million. Yeah, I think it seems a bit pricey, but at the end of the day, it's not my money. He's 27, so you would argue he's in his prime. He's played for England before, got over 20 caps, I think. Has been captain in Leicester of late, has experience in the Premier League. Again, he's got injury concerns. Feels like we keep buying Crocs. But the good thing is he covers 2 positions. We've seen how poor Schmidt's looked in pre-season. At least now with James Justin, he can play at right back and left back, and he's your first backup. Then you've got Byram underneath that. And I think what it'll also do will enable Leeds to loan or send Schmidt now to Wolfsburg, which then means we might see another incoming player maybe.
Yeah, good stuff. Good. So I don't really know anything about him other than he's rated, and you know what, that'll do. I think based on yesterday, anything that broadens out the squad is going to help us. Before we move on to match, any last words or any kind of final take in general, Rocco, from what we saw yesterday? What could we take from yesterday?
Oh, God, nothing. I don't think anything. I think we've just got to forget about it and hope that it doesn't happen again. But it will happen again. We probably have to brace ourselves. But I don't know. Yeah, maybe the continuing to play out the back thing, not changing things. Maybe Farke will learn from that. But I don't know. Like I said, I just feel like the players were crap and they need to be better.
Well, you Joe, what's your final take or overall take on what happened yesterday?
Calmness is needed. This can happen. After the game, a Forest fan messaged me and said, the season we stayed up under Steve Cooper, the same month we got walloped 6-0 by City and 5-0 by Arsenal. We stayed up. You know, this will not define our season. I've seen some wild takes on about, sacking the manager after 2 games when he's got 3 points from 2 games. It's mental. I would say the same was said, and you mentioned the game earlier on, Dara. The same was said after West Brom. He's not learnt from his mistakes. We've gone down there. We didn't even want to win. Get him gone. We won't go up. We won the league. Time and patience is needed. And thankfully the 49ers Art fans, they're not emotional. They know when it'll be the right decision. And I still stand by the manager 100%. He just got it wrong yesterday, and the players looked a little bit overawed of the situation. The Emirates, all that sort of stuff comes into some of these. Never thought they'd play in a venue like that potentially. We forget Tanaka was playing in the German second division not too long ago. He never thought this would probably happen. So, and in the lead up, you've got Declan Rice saying what a player he is. Do you know what I mean? He's probably thinking, oh my God, and there's Declan Rice and there's Zuba. These are top players. So just a little bit of patience, I think, is what I would say.
Look at the Champions League run as well, where we lost 4-0 in the new camp, and then they got over that quickly enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've a few. I'm famous for doing my old switcheroos on this, where I hammer the team and then I turn around and go, but, and probably no more so than the Luton game, when I absolutely hammered Farke for the Luton game, and then I turned around and said, but I still have faith in them, and I think we're going to win every single game from now to the end of the season, and we did. So look, I've criticised us for not going out like we did against West Brom. We should have gone out for a 0-0. I've criticised us for not utilising that tall, strong squad. No Ampadu, no fight. Perry maybe grew a wrong person. All that aside, it's good to learn your harsh lessons early, right? Because that sets a standard. The players now know that's the standard at the very, very top. And there's only 3 teams at the very, very top of the Premier League. So that's one thing. But we must learn from it. But the big thing for me is that we have no right to complain about getting hammered at the Emirates. We, as a fan base and a club, need to use this as a reality check in a good, positive way. We have spent the last 20 years, most of the last 20 years, in League One and the Championship, while Arsenal have been building one of the best squads in world football. They brought on 4 players yesterday who worth more than 50 million quid, and we think it's amazing that we spent 90. They pissed 90 away on Pepe and could afford for him to flop and still be a successful club. So we have fans from Aston Villa. I quote tweeted a guy yesterday saying, you have no right to be complaining about this. This is what happens to teams that step up from the Championship. Joe, one of your big ones on why we would win at Everton was Fortress Ellen Road on a Monday night. This was Arsenal's first home game of the season. They needed to put on a show for their fans. They just signed Eze. Gyökeres was making his debut at the Emirates. They were bang up for this. And we roll in a newly put together team playing a new system, and we lose 5. Yeah, all right. Our season will not be defined against Arsenal. Our season will be defined against Burnley. And look what Sunderland did there yesterday. So, now that I've said this, largely Ramazani. So we have a few Ramazani fans. I have a funny one from my nephew there. He says, Ramazani looks like he's being loaned out to Valencia. I think we may come to regret this. I was thinking, Ramazani isn't going to keep us up. Rocco, what's your take on Ramazani?
Good riddance. Scumbag, innit? Ex-scummer. And he can go. You have to side with Farke. Like, I'm disappointed. Like, Ramazani was awesome when he came in the team in the beginning of last season. I thought he was going to be our best player. But you have to side with Farke. He's the only one that sees him day in, day out. I mean, he's not just got some sort of vendetta against him. There's a reason why he doesn't pick him. If he's turning up late for training, if he's, not doing what he's asked for, he's not putting it in, if he's, not eating the right food, whatever. Like, there's so many things that could be the reason why he's not getting picked. I mean, it was clear that he was a write-off this season when we brought on, Aronson and Harrison ahead of him. He just needs to go. That's just the way it is. It's not going to change, and shame. But that's the way it is, and I back Farke all the way because we have no idea. It's not just a case of him being a better player than Aronson. It goes you can't play a player if he's not doing what the manager asks or if he's being a problem. Not so, yeah, we don't know that he is, but you have to suspect that there's something like that going on. I can't believe it's just the fact that he doesn't rate him.
Interesting call. James is obviously just logged in and he's saying Rocco's dying for a rant and this could go on for more than a couple of hours. Unfortunately, it won't because Joe has a hard out for 9 o'clock. Joe, if you need to pop out at any stage, go ahead. After Largy, we're just gonna do the build up to Newcastle and Wednesday. But Joe, you get some nutters on your show who love Largy more than they love Leeds. But it looks at things, and I'm not just talking about Matty from Imagine Not Being Leeds. No, Matty, big love to Matty. We know he's Leeds through and through. God, he loves Largy more than I love my wife. What do you make to the Largy situation?
I wholeheartedly agree with Rocco Dean. At the end of the day, I just have to name a few players over the 2 seasons when Farke's been here. The same was said about Mateo Joseph because he scored 2 goals against Chelsea. He's not of the level. And now he's refusing to play for us. Even in his Athletic interview, he was talking about the bloody game against Chelsea. I was like, it's 2 years ago, mate. Like, what are you doing? Then Isaac Schmidt. Oh, Farke's not playing him. He's man management. We saw why he didn't play him at fullback. He's absolutely woeful. And in the Premier League, he'd get torn apart, if we're being honest. So what I would say is that Daniel... Do you know, here's 2 other names for you as well. Jed Spence, manager's playing him out of position. Can't believe this. Where does he play for Spurs now? Left back. I'll give you another player. Archie Gray, he's ruining him at right back. How dare he? Where did he play last season? Right back. It's almost like the manager knows what he's talking about. So at this, people say, you believe anything Farke says? Well, he's not giving me any reason not to, is what I will say. I don't think Largy Ramazani is as good as people make out. I don't. He's been Manchester United. He went to Almeria. He came to the Championship. Didn't play much, whether you agree or disagree with that decision. He's now got a big move to Valencia. Let's see. But he won't start. He'll be on the bench because of the level of players they've got. So let's see. Let's see how he does. But I thought on the morning of the game, we find out about him not being involved in the squad. Where did that come from? Then he's blacking out his Instagram purely for effect on the morning of a game. Why are you bothered? Oh, you're looking at it wrong. Well, why did he do it then? Why didn't he leave his Instagram if he weren't trying to make a statement? And it's funny because the same players that are doing that is Alexander Isak, is Nicholas Jackson. I'm sorry, you're not on their level. So just stop and enjoy your time in Spain and let's wait and see what happens.
2 great takes, lads. Great takes. I gotta be honest, I'm just shocked at the level of love for Ramazani. Like, on one hand, I can get a level of love. Like, he's an exciting player. He is, and maybe to a degree, he hasn't had the opportunities under Daniel Farke that that type of level of excitement would generally merit. I think up until his injury last year, he was probably our best player. I actually hammered Farke at that Luton game for not playing him back into form, where he did the same with Solomon. But you can't argue with Farke's selections. As you've said, Joe, there's some examples there, and every one of them, I believe he's gotten right as well. So what we've seen from Largy, we've seen 7 starts. Like, he's not that good. Like, I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you. Yeah, he's exciting, and I think he's a good lad. I like the kind of the cheeky chappy attitude, that kind of Alioski style attitude around the ground. I don't mind a bit of that. When I heard he was going, I went, all right. Like, what difference does it make? And the whole thing, it's not Jack Harrison's fault as well. Like, people bringing Jack Harrison into the equation. And I had this conversation with someone the other day, and they're complaining about Jack Harrison. And I said, you cannot compare Jack Harrison's career to Largy Ramazani. He has spent the last 5 years playing top level Premier League football. This is his 6th season under his 8th manager, and all 8 managers have played him. Farke hasn't really yet, but I think he will. All of his previous 7 managers have played him at Premier League level and trusted him. So you can't complain about him on a football level. What you can do is say, get lost, Dara. I like Ramazani. And you know what? That's the only argument
You're forgetting though, Dara, that Ramazani once scored at the Bernabeu. That makes him like amazing.
You know, actually, you actually just remind me there. Two things I need to give you a plug on. One, if anyone hasn't seen Joe's episode on Ramazani, please do go back and watch it. Well, it was about a week ago, so I watched it in my kitchen, I think, one morning, and I thought it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And the other one, Joe, I want to give you a plug on is the ladies' show you did last week, which was absolutely excellent with Danny Cayley and our very own Lucy. When's that back on, Joe? Tuesday, is it?
Every Wednesday, mate. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. I think we settled on, unless they've got jobs and lives. We're just waiting for Evie to come back from Florida. She seems like she's been there for about 2-3 weeks. She must have made money. But when she does come back, she'll make the, is it a quintet? No, quartet. Quartet. Sorry, yeah. yeah. It's good though, man. We need more female content creators within the space. The reason I say that is obviously I spend my time just watching YouTube, and there is so many female content creators, and we don't have a standard. Like, there's not even one that you would look. Of course, there's like Tash and all Leeds TV, but if any girls are watching this, there's a massive gap in the market. Take it. If you're sick and bored of your job, grab it with both hands. In a year's time, you'll thank me. Trust me.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I didn't hear one point on that show that I largely disagreed with. Yeah. So those girls know their football. Like, they were really, really good. Mm-hmm. So before we move on, as a Joe, I know you're under pressure for time, but we complete up yourself. You want to hang on for this? Wednesday, we have Wednesday and Tuesday. Rocco, what do you think is going to happen?
I think we're going to win. Bounce back to winning ways. Nice 2-0. They're boycotting the game, aren't they? Which will be funny.
Fans are, yeah. Not the players, unfortunately.
Well, we'll see. They're definitely the Platt fans. So, 7 or 8 changes, and looking forward to hopefully seeing Biol. I think he'll get a run out, and maybe Calvert-Lewin as well, hopefully, because I want to see him up front against Newcastle if possible. Looking forward to it. And
Joe?
Yeah, I think we'll wallop him. To be honest, I think he'll go pretty strong. Farke tends to do that. I agree with Rocco. Those that I would like to see for Newcastle that are lacking match sharpness need to play in this game. Biol, Okafor, Metcher or Calvert-Lewin. Ideally Calvert-Lewin, but start these lads so that they're ready for Newcastle. Because you don't want to be throwing them in against Newcastle cold, because they will be like they're animals in their midfield. They're similar to Arsenal, they'll press the life out of us. So the lads need to be ready. So yeah, get them in on Wednesday and get like some confidence back, and we can get that against Wednesday. Genuinely, we can. They're not great.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It's a Cunningham derby for me. We have a lot of family in Mexborough who are all Sheffield Wednesday fans. So not for once, but they don't let me forget the 6-0. So I won't be letting them forget this when we hammer them 6-0. It'll be good to see some new players. Be all Longstaff, and I hope Longstaff starts against Newcastle. So as we switch to Newcastle, I think it's probably hard to say what we think the team would be against Newcastle, because obviously I think that will be dependent on how we come through Sheffield Wednesday, and if someone plays really well, like, if Bamford gets a rare start and scores a hat-trick, maybe he'll start again against Newcastle. Stir that pot, Dara. But yeah, like Okafor, Biol, Longstaff, I'm looking forward to having a really good look at them, and I think Aronson's probably due a start as well. I think he's looked very impressive in his 2 appearances, and I've been super critical of him. So in a word, Rocco, before we wrap up, can we beat Newcastle at home next weekend?
Yeah, we definitely can. It's going to be a massive test again, and if like one step down, but still, huge. If we get a point, then that's great. But we just need to properly compete in that game. I cannot stand seeing us lie down and die like we did on Saturday against Newcastle at home on a Saturday evening. So I'm a bit nervous now.
And Joe?
Yeah, they're without a striker. They look pretty toothless against Villa, so why not? It's the perfect time to play them before they get a striker in. Plus they've got less preparation time because they play on Monday against Liverpool. So yeah, why not? Let's get them. Oh no, we play Tuesday, don't we? So that's null and void, so ignore me. But yes is the answer.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe Longstaff would a winner against his former club.
That'd be nice.
So before we wrap up, Ellie was in the comments. She was just asking where to find that ladies' show. Ellie, it's on the Just Joe show. It's one of his new enterprises. Yeah, I think.
Just call me Alan Sugar.
Yeah, just grow it. He's taking over world football. He's going to be like, who's that scum bloke who just bought into the Bundesliga? What's his name?
Oh, Goldbridge, yeah.
Joe Goldbridge here now, expanding his empire.
Oh, don't say that on the
No, so look, guys, thanks very much to Joe for coming on. Joe, it's been an absolute pleasure. We're really, really grateful for you taking the time out. Next week we have Ger Lynch from The View. He's going to join us because James is still away. So another great guest for us for next week. So please do tune in for that. And if anyone is here for the first time joining Joe, please do like and subscribe. We'd love to see you back there. From everyone here at Leeds, guys, thank you very much for your time. And let's go on to 2 wins in the next 2 matches. Leeds.